Good morning. Today is Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. I want to wish a very happy birthday to Jamie Allen, our grandson, who is 5 years old today. Happy birthday, Jamie. Generally, the Torah is not self-referential, except for the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, the fifth book of the Torah, which is explicitly about reviewing the events and the lessons to be learned from the last 40 years. Aside from that, only rarely does the Torah in one place refer to an event described in another place. And one of the most glaring exceptions to this is in our Parsha, the Parsha of Pinchas. So, a large chunk of our Parsha is the taking of a census, and this is the taking of the census of the Jewish people near the end of the 40 years in the desert. Our Parsha is near the end of the book of Bamidbar, the fourth book of the Torah. And the book of Bamidbar began with a census of the Jewish people near the beginning of the 40 years in the desert. That's the reason that this book, the fourth book of the Torah, is known as Sefer HaPekudim, the book of Numbers, because it is bracketed by numbers at the beginning and numbers near the end, the numbers being the census, the numbers of the Jewish people at that time. In our Parsha, within the section of this census, within the section of this census, is one short verse. Ubnei Korach lo mesu. And the sons of Korach did not die. Now, that refers to a narrative from a couple of weeks ago, the Parsha of Korach, where Korach led a rebellion against Moshe and Aaron. The rebellion was a spectacular failure. Korach and his followers were swallowed up by the earth as it opened, and they were taken away. So now in our Parsha, we have the coda to that narrative. So one question to ask is, what is this line, the sons of Korach did not die, what is it doing here in our Parsha where it seems to be completely out of context, or almost completely out of context? Why isn't it, for example, at the end of the narrative of Korach, in the Parsha of Korach? Okay, that's an important question. We'll take that up another time. But for now, let's focus on the substance of these words. Ubnei Korach lo mesu, the sons of Korach did not die. Sivan Rahav Meir points out that these words are perhaps the most optimistic words in the entire Torah. Rashi says, don't think that these sons were not included in the punishment of Korach and his followers because they were such righteous people, they were such tzaddikim from the time that they were children, and they had nothing to do with Korach and his evil plan. No. Rashi says, Heim hayu be'etza tchila. They were part of it. They were together with their father. They were standing shoulder to shoulder with this initiative to rebel against Moshe and Aaron. Ubeshas hamachlokes, Rashi says, and at the final dramatic moment, when it came down to this showdown between Korach and his followers on one side, and Moshe and Aaron on the other side, at that moment, Hir haru teshuva belibam. They thought in their heart a thought of repentance. And they did not die. They were not subject to the punishment of Korach and his followers. Imagine that. They were right there, standing next to their father, together with the plan, intent on rebelling. And at the last moment, they had a thought, an inkling in their mind, not even an action, not even a word that they express, but a thought internally that this is not right. We don't want to be a part of this. And because of that thought, they were spared. And those words hold an incredible lesson for us. And that is, if you are the child of Korach, you do not necessarily have to turn out like Korach. If your parent has a flaw, that does not mean that you will necessarily have that flaw. Now, I realize that everybody listening now has wonderful parents who are stellar role models. And thank God I also have and had wonderful parents who are wonderful role models. But there are many people who do not have that blessing. There are many people who may despair and feel that they are stuck because of their upbringing, because of who their parents are, because of the environment in which they were raised, and they may despair because of that. And along comes the Torah in these short words, 4 Hebrew words, Ubnei Korach lo mesu. You do not have to have the same outcome as your parent. But this lesson applies in every area of life, and it is applicable to every one of us, because it doesn't only relate to the stature of our parents. In every area of life, when everything seems lost, when it seems like it's predetermined and we are caught up in some kind of trouble and we are surrounded by an environment that has a power over us, and we feel that there is no way for us to get out of it, there is no way for us to rise above the pressure and the influence with which we are surrounded, you can stop. You can change things. You can be changed. And the proof of that is these words, Ubnei Korach lo mesu. The sons of Korach did not die just because of a single thought that they wished to extricate themselves. They were able to do so. And that is the last word on this narrative. The coda, the last word, the takeaway of the entire story is, don't ever feel that your situation is predetermined and you are stuck. You always have the ability to take yourself out, to change yourself, to put yourself on a different track. My friends, I want to wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon in person.